All right, folks, welcome back. Let's catch up on a few stories that should be on your radar this day. It is time for Rapid Fire. And here with their takes are Seema Modi, Frank Holland, Kate Rogers. Welcome, all three of you. First topic is Moderna's vaccine news. That seems to be giving cruise stocks a bump in kind of a second derivative play here. Shares of Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise Lines, Carnival, all up double digits. Seema, it is welcome news for an industry that continues to burn cash as the ships are in port.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tyler. Today's price action reflects just how dependent cruise lines are on a vaccine. Now, in the meantime, they are working on all these new protocols that they hope to introduce once they potentially get back to sea this fall. Social distancing on board, masks, temperature checks, including reducing the occupancy that they operate at, which, Tyler, you and I discussed with Royal Caribbean CEO Richard Fain about a month ago. But they're not going to make as much money with all these new protocols. That's why they're so dependent on this vaccine, not only coming to market, but being widely available to the masses. In fact, SunTrust today is saying, yes, it's great to see these cruise lines up double digits, but they're very cautious on this move because they said you need to have this vaccine available to everyone, specifically those individuals above the age of 70 that have pre-existing conditions that may not feel comfortable getting on board, even if you have all these new measures available.
What are you hearing about bookings later in the year and into 2021, Seema?
2021 looks much better than perhaps many people would expect. Norwegian CEO told us the same last week, that bookings are increasing for 2021. But with a cancellation policy that allows you to cancel 48 hours before you get on board, I've been hearing a lot of people are just booking that cruise because of the low price point and saying we can always cancel if we don't feel comfortable getting on board.
They also have a lot of debt, don't they, Seema, those companies, and at high rates?
They do. In fact, today, Carnival raised about $1.25 billion in new bonds in a mix of dollars and euros, but again, at a really high rate of around 10%. That's slightly better than the debt they raised at around 12% just about 8 weeks ago. But yeah, it just shows you how they have to keep going back to the debt market to raise money if they're not sailing for the foreseeable future.
Those rates sound like my first mortgage years ago. All right, Kate, we turn to you and Chipotle, which has pledged now to hire 10,000 workers over the next few months as it opens its 100th Chipotlane. Yes, I pronounced it correctly. To accommodate its digital order growth, the stock up nearly 100% since the March lows. We've been seeing, Kate, a hiring spree in the restaurant space, largely but not entirely driven by drive-through operations.
Yeah, Tyler, that's right. We've seen a lot of changing consumer preferences throughout the pandemic, kind of leaning into carry out and delivery. Chipotle's done a really fantastic job with building out its digital business. It continues to grow. It was up over 80% last quarter. They report earnings next week. We'll see what it did this quarter, but they have carry out and they have this order ahead system with the Chipotlanes, which you place your order, you go and you pick up your food. But these digitally driven locations are a bit more labor intensive. So that's why you're seeing this big hiring announcement, 10,000 workers over the next few months. But we've also heard from Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, Papa John's, and Domino's Pizza also hiring in really big numbers because consumers, again, are turning to these brands. Really stark contrast from the broader restaurant industry. We've seen 8 million people either furloughed or laid off because so many restaurants can't operate. So once again, investors really putting their money behind some of the names that have been able to not only sustain but really grow business in this challenging time.
Well, Frank Holland, if you go to Chipotle and get a burrito, if you can't get a beer there, you need a beer, a Boston beer, maybe a truly hard seltzer. Evercore ISI initiating Boston beer on the strength of its hard seltzer brand Truly. The firm gives the stock an outperform rating and a price target of $725, up 16% from current levels. This hard seltzer category, Frank, has been really, really hot, particularly among younger people, also among women.
Yeah, Tyler, don't take this the wrong way. I don't see you as a seltzer drinker.
You got that right.
Yeah, but seltzer's definitely on fire. It's the fastest growing segment of the alcohol business, 200% growth in 2019, projected 54% growth this year. Boston Beer, it has about a quarter of the overall market with its Truly brand. It also recently introduced Truly Lemonade, which so far has been a fast seller. So as we can all say right here, seltzer, it's popular. People seem to love it. And looking ahead, we're looking at it right here. Truly's expected to be 50% of Boston Beer's revenue this year, 70% in 2022, so it's going to continue to grow. Another thing you have to look at is that seltzer has a huge runway. About 17% of households, they've had seltzer now. 74% of households have had beer. So there's a lot more people that can try seltzer and maybe like it and continue this fantastic growth story.
Kate and Seema have faint smiles on their faces here. Do you like it, ladies? Seema, do you like it?
I like it. It brings back memories to last summer. I was at a party and a lot of people were saying claw is a law, which perhaps raises more questions about the people that I hang out with. But this idea that hard seltzer has embedded itself in this millennial culture and also has done such a great job at marketing in front of this younger audience, I think that tells you a lot about its success.
Kate?
Tyler, I'm a wine girl. I don't know what to say. This seltzer is not for me. I've tried it. It's okay. I like regular seltzers. Spiked seltzer is not my thing, but I will say younger people that I know and in my family love it. I think, as Seema said, it's become kind of this pop culture phenomenon, and everyone is very into it. The numbers are just really astounding in terms of growth looking forward, but not my thing. I got to say, more of a rosé girl.
Yeah. I'm not on board, but boy, you see a lot of people coming out of stores with it. All right, folks, let's move to the last topic, and that is the NBA getting ready to restart its season at the Bubble campus at Disney World in Orlando. But the league's insurance policy will not cover expenses for canceled games as a result of COVID-19. Our CNBC.com sports business reporter Jabari Young joins us now to explain. Take us through this one, and then I'm going to have a follow-up question for you, Jabari.
Well, in full transparency, I am a seltzer drinker. I had it the other day. I loved it. I am going to start drinking it from here on out. So that's just, throw that out there for you guys. Also, this is the problem, Tyler. The insurance industry is having to, readjust some things, just like how they did during 9/11, when after, terrorism, when the federal government had to step in and have to back terrorism insurance in order for the insurance companies to back it as well. So I think that's what you're going to see with the virus protection around all insurances, not just the NBA. You focus on the NBA because that's the first big event happening from all the sports, all the four leagues, the major leagues, that the NBA is controlling down at the Disney campus. But they'll be covered for everything else. But if it's anything virus related, they definitely will not be covered. But the players still have some workers' comp that they will be protected under. So if they do contract coronavirus or COVID issues, that they can actually, go and reimburse themselves through workman's comp. Now, Florida's workman's comp laws are very, very interesting. Not really all the way up to date with them, but very interesting, where it kind of is almost saying, like, if you do accept workers' comp, you basically you surrender your rights to go after the company that did have the event, because you do take the workers' comp. So it's a very interesting thing that sports leagues are going to have to battle through from here on out if they expect to have fans, and if they don't, then it basically lowers the risk of them having any type of lawsuit, opening themselves up for any type of lawsuit.
Jabari, do you think this bubble idea is going to work? I mean, this is a lot of young men who are accustomed to, let's just say, a vigorous social life. I think you know what I'm talking about here. So can the bubble survive those pressures that are going to bound to come toward it?
Well, listen, you already hear the stories coming from down there, right? That the tip hotline has been activated, that there's already a player that has gotten caught, and he had to be quarantined for a couple of days. I like to call it the gun line off of the movie Life. If you go past a certain point, you got to quarantine because it's no longer, within the region, within the proximity that the NBA wants you to be. So, listen, it has to survive. If it doesn't survive, the NBA is going to be out of a lot of money. And then you start talking about bigger issues like how to reconstruct the CBA, because you're going to have to go through some economics, and it's not going to be pretty. Listen, they're already set up to be that way anyway, but if they can pull this bubble off, it lowers the blow to their CBA. So, it has to work some way, somehow. And if there's enough players, as long as the spread does not go too far, I think they're going to try to pull this thing off. And you know what? I think the country obviously wants it. I think people need it. But it's going to be very interesting to see how the NBA pulls it off, because, as you said, it's a lot riding on the line when you talk about people's health.
Jabari, thanks very much. I guess we got sort of two cheers for hard seltzer there, folks. Thanks very much, Kate, Seema, Frank, and Jabari.